Welcome to day 2 of the lightning talks. Today we're going to do things just slightly different. The first speaker has no slides. Speakers 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all using the same machine. Speaker 6 has no slides. And later we have 2 people sharing a machine again, so we should actually be able to get through this with fewer technical interruptions. Remember, bell at 4 minutes, gong at 5 minutes. All the lightning speakers are either along the front row or up the side here. If you want to do an advertisement in between, just wander down, sit over there. She'll have the microphone. And otherwise, we are ready to go.
Hi, my name is Rene Schickbauer, but I'm known as cavac. A few of you were in my talk yesterday about the web framework I wrote. A few months ago, or I should start, for a few years now I've been running my blog at cavac.at. Don't bother if you haven't heard of it because nobody reads it. But a couple of months ago I was sitting at home drinking a few beers, and then a mail came from my domain provider and said, we have this new top-level domains you can buy. And I said, okay, well, let's look through it. And I said, okay, there is .ac domain, so, well, I decided after a few more beers that I buy cav.ac, so it's cavac. Slight problem, I don't have any content for it, and having a domain and nothing, that's even a waste for me. So I decided, well, what can you do? It's very short. I write an URL shortener. How hard can it be? So I did the math, how much characters I need for handling big stuff. Then I did the math, how much memory or hard disk space I actually have. So well, I shortened it even more, that the random characters that create a unique ID. And well, I don't have any business plan. I don't have money coming in. I don't even have a good design for the website. It looks very ugly, but it only has 378 bytes. And then I started writing a blog post because, hey, well, it's content I can write about, which is rare enough. And then I looked up, companies who also did it, and I found out, well, my URL is 1 byte shorter than bit.ly, so, well, am I gonna get rich with this? No. Does it cost me money? Yes. Did I just up one of the most important sites for Twitter users? Yes. And of course, I'm always willing to, if I just took away your business, I'm always willing to sell you the domain for, what was it? $1 million. So, well, there's not much technical stuff behind it, but you can put in a surprising amount of unique IDs in a few characters. If you just look through the RFC, what legal characters you can put in an URL, it's quite amazing, actually. But yeah, I need a complete server room to use the one. So I can probably make it even shorter, just looking into it. Thank you.
Hi. Some of you might know me from the old days on IRC as Dollar Bar. My name is Guinevere. I'm going to talk today about agent-based modeling, which is something I got into Perl in the dot-com era, but then I went back to university and I ended up getting into economics. And at that time, I thought it would be fun to write an agent-based model in Perl to represent the market and market interactions and everything, and see if I could look at policy and economics with it. So that's kind of how I know about this topic. I created a model and I ended up presenting at agent-based conferences for a few years, and I wrote a paper, but I never got it published. So what is agent-based modeling? Well, basically it's just like a video game that plays itself. It's a simulation of a bunch of individual agents who each do their own thing and interact with each other. And then you get an outcome, an emergent system if you use complex systems terminology. So it can be used to model any kind of complex system, such as ecology, neurology, other kinds of biochemistry and so on, or social sciences, so like markets and policies that interfere with markets, because markets are a complex system or a spontaneous order. Planned economies, not so much. But maybe they are. So if you want to get into it and prove me wrong, then go for it. And that's really what I want to talk about. Is I have not met anyone in the Perl community really that has worked in agent-based modeling, and that's a real shame. Most of the libraries for agent-based modeling are written in Java, and sometimes other languages, sort of mathematical statistical language tool systems. But so they're basically black boxes to the social scientists and others who use them. And this is not really a good thing, because economists are very good at making terrible assumptions and never looking at them. And this only encourages that because they don't really understand how the agent-based libraries work. Or so they kind of think that they know how the model is working, but they don't really understand how what it's made out of, what all of the assumptions are that go into it. Perl is a great language for writing this kind of thing, I think. And it could make the models more flexible, easier to understand, easier to use, and they're fun to write. So this code, I wrote it 10, 15 years ago. I updated it a bunch of times since, but it's still pretty, not beautiful code. But this is the very beginning of the kind of wrapper script called agent.perl that runs the thing, and it's got some other modules in there, pulled out that I use, one for public firm, private firm, individual. And then basically I just loop through them. And I know there's a lot of better ways of doing this, but this is just how I wrote it, and I never felt the need to redo it. So I am hopefully maybe going to rewrite this in such a way that I can pull pieces out and put them on CPAN, but I might not get around to it. I want to encourage everyone else to jump in and think about doing some agent-based modeling. Understand it, write a library for it, beat Java at, in this field, because a lot of people are using it. It's becoming bigger and bigger in economics and other social sciences. So I use things like math, random, normal to create a normal distribution. And then basically I create my firms and my individuals, and then I think this was supposed to have more code on it. But I wanted to mention stabilization. You're dealing with a complex system when you have a lot of instability at the beginning, and then after a while it finds a way to stabilize itself. Then you kind of know that you've hit pay dirt. And what else? So then you can pull out things like poverty and so on at the end by seeing how many people, and by looking at their incomes and how many people are unemployed, and you can get all of your good, nice policy results out of it. So I might work on stuff for CPAN, but then again I might not, and I would love for more Perl developers to get into this. It's fun. It's like being a games programmer, except you can actually change the world.
Who's next? Am I? Brian? No. To all the people who went to my CSV talk yesterday, I showed you that you can open multiple different CSV files with different separators, like the bottom one has semicolons and the top one has colons, and the middle one has a other encoding. And I thought, well, as I also maintain DBD CSV, why not make that work in DBD CSV. This is not the right one. So if I write a DBD CSV file for it, you connect to a directory with different files in there. That's a new attribute I wrote yesterday and tested. Then we open every file in there and we select them and we dump them. If we run this, you see that it fails. Did I? No. It fails because it cannot open the second file because it has different separators, so it sees it as a single line instead of fields. If I now change the new option and I run it again, then you see that it all works. It automatically detects the BOM encoding, it automatically detects the semicolon instead of the colon, and you can open different files. You can use joins, as you saw in the last one. So this will be released soon after I write tests. Thank you. You want this one, or did you have the PDF?
The other one.
This one?
No ads over there? No time for ads because they would switch like this. This is true, I did. F5 might be okay. F5. This is PDF. Oh, no, it's F5. Okay. Go ahead.
So, okay, my name is Laurent Rosenfeld. I'm from the Paris Perlmonger. I'm Laurent on Perl Monks for those. Oh, sorry. I'm a member of the Paris Perlmongers, and I'm Laurent on the Perl Monks for those who go on this site. And I participate to a French developer site called developer.com, and I've written for them a number of tutorials, facts and other. And over the last 2 or 3 years, I've been publishing tutorials on Perl 6. So it was first translations of tutorials written by Moritz Lenz and by others, and then tutorials which I wrote myself. How do I get down? Okay, now in an interview with Linux Voice in 2015, Larry Wall said, "We do think that Perl 6 will be learnable as a first language." I'm sure he said it many other times, but I just picked up that one. Sorry. No, it's okay. So I thought I was, I wanted to write something, a French tutorial along those lines, something for somebody who has never developed, who would learn development with Perl 6. So I was thinking of a tutorial, maybe 50, 70 pages or something like that. And then I looked whether there was something in English on the subject that could help me, whether I could translate something or use something existing, but I didn't find anything along that line. So I thought I might as well do it. And I might as well do it in English so that we would have larger larger audience. Then something changed my plan. You know, when I say there's more than one way to do it, it might well be to do it in another language than Perl also. And so back in December 2015, friends of mine on this site, which I just mentioned, were contemplating translating into French the book Think Python, How to Think Like a Computer Scientist by Alan Downey. And at the time, I encouraged very much the idea because I had read the book a couple of years ago. Well, I had read an earlier edition of the book a couple of years ago, and I thought it was a very good book. So it's not a book about Python, it's a book about learning programming and using Python. Well, yeah, as I said, I encouraged very much a translation, and that was a mistake for me because I ended up to be one of the co-translator and to be the technical editor of the translation. And that actually changed my life over the recent period. Well, anyway, in the process of working on this translation into French, sorry about the typo, I wrote that yesterday evening after the party. The idea came to me that rather than a 50-page tutorial on Perl 6, I would actually translate that book into Perl 6, translate the Python part into Perl 6. And I discussed it with Alan Downey, with whom I was in contact for the translation into French of his book, and he warmly supported the idea. So I started to work on that by the end of January this year. And now it looks like I can't get to the next page. How do I get to the next page? Oh. So that's the book. It's almost completed. There are about 13 or 14 chapters. Only one chapter is missing at this point. So the point of my talk was 330 pages at this point. The point was to announce that this book is coming out very soon on the internet, probably within a month or two, hopefully. And I would like to thank Moritz, Lance, and Liz for their very useful comment on the early draft of the book. And that's it. Thank you.
Hi. Oh, sorry. So this is a lightning talk that occurred to me yesterday. It was motivated by Leon's talk, and I was very moved by what he said. In particular, I thought that his point about how some technical discussions are actually discussions of value. I completely agreed with that point. And I think the reason why, or one of the reasons why I was so moved by what he was saying was that, in a way, I see myself in the decision that Leon was making 3 years ago when he decided to leave sort of academia and decide to work on what he's doing now. Because I'm very much in that same place. So a primer on me, because this is the first time I come to YAPC, so nobody knows me. But I recently finished a PhD in speech sciences where nobody uses Perl. And the best thing I learned while I was doing my PhD was that I did not want to be a researcher. But I wanted to be a programmer. I did a lot of programming for my PhD. I started committing upstream. I realized that I liked it. But I was stuck, particularly recently, when thinking what kind of developer, what sort of things I should be working on. And then it came back to the matter of values. So when I was listening to Leon talk yesterday, he was saying how it was the values that he had got from open source that drove him away from academia in a way. Because he wanted to develop good tools and he wanted to work with good tools, and none of those things were happening in universities. But what I find interesting about that is that if you think about it, a lot of the values that power sort of open source and the free software movement in the back, they're deep down values that are shared by science. They're shared by scientists, or they should be shared by scientists. So what of these values are ignored by academia? What is lacking? I can't remember all the points that, like all 3 points that Leon mentioned, but it works for me and PhD abandonware. They're very much lacking in the software that is written in academia for research. And I'm sure that lots of you have horror stories coming from other places, but the worst code that I've ever seen comes from academics. But some of these values are not lacking. Some of the values from open source are not lacking in academia. Particularly openness and reproducibility and modularity, which is connected to these points. At least they shouldn't be missing. And they're not missing because they're key to the scientific endeavor, but they're often, even though they're not missing from scientific work, they are missing from the software that is written for research, or a lot of it. And I imagine that that is because the software is not considered to be a part of the academic work. And oftentimes academics who spend a lot of time coding and developing, they are chastised by their colleagues saying, why are you wasting your time on this and not publishing or teaching or whatever? And this is a real problem. And this is a problem that is not lost to everyone in academia. So there are people in academia who care about this and who worry about this. And I know this just by giving you one little example. The one example that I know is the RSC community in the UK, the Research Software Engineer community in the UK. They have this Software Sustainability Institute, and they offer grants. They have communication tools. They teach people. They sort of promote the idea that in universities there is room for developers that assist in research, that are part of the academic community, but not necessarily researchers. They have a journal that is specialized in publishing research tools and data sets. They call it the Journal of Open Research Software, and it has a very interesting Twitter handle. And they are actually meeting very soon in Manchester on the 15th and 16th of September. It's going to be the first ever RSC conference. And yeah, this is basically just an excuse to let people here know about this and to tell everyone why the same values that, in a way, drove Leon away from academia maybe convinced me that I want to stay. So, thank you.
Hi, I'm your sponsored talk while I change laptops. Hi everyone, this is my first YAPC. My name's Robert Masick. I'm a co-founder of a company here in Cluj called Evozon. So I'm here to pitch our services to guys that are finding it, I don't know, troublesome to finish things on time, or projects that are left behind that you need a company's help for, like what we do. So Evozon is primarily a company that does project-based work in a sort of outsourcing sort of environment. But we're involved a lot in the Perl community because 12 years ago when the company started, Perl was pretty much the first language that we went to and started using here because of my background. I'm from Australia. I did my degree in '86 or whatever back there. And my best friend, Perl developer, we've been doing Perl businesses since the 90s. Everything's been done that way, but not everybody wants Perl. So out of the 500 guys that we have, not all of them, of course, are doing Perl. You know, we're doing Java, .NET, and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm really proud to be sponsoring the event, of course. We've been sort of building up to this, hoping to grab it for a little while. To show the guys here, that, you know, the reason why my company's been sponsoring Cluj PM in the background. It's not a really sort of commercial activity. You know, we started a Perl community so that guys could get to know each other and share ideas and not sort of sponsorize it a lot. So This is the first time I've pitched Everzon in front of a bunch of Perl guys. But anyway, so yeah, look, that's basically it. So I'm really happy to have been along with you guys for the last 12 years. And more to come. Cheers.
Oh, that's all right, don't worry. Okay, so hi everyone. I'm sure that some of you are probably sick and tired of me because I've just been talking for half an hour before in the other room, and if you haven't been there, then hey, how you doing? I'm Andy. Nice to meet everyone. I'm from the UK, obviously, from my accent. So what I'm going to talk about very quickly is a processing pipeline toolkit that we've developed in-house at EMBL EBI, because we have to do a crap ton of data processing. Pretty much every single year we send through 400 CPU years worth of compute through our cluster farms. And so we needed a tool that could actually handle that particular processing load. And what we've come up with is something called eHive. It's short for Ensemble Hive. It works with the traditional data schedulers, so like LSF. It's pretty much the only one that we actually do support because that's the one that we have in-house. Otherwise, you know, I'm not writing code and my developers aren't writing code for some kind of scheduler that they don't actually have. But we do welcome contributions, as which was Matt's theme earlier on today. And basically what we do is we create DAGs in the background, and the DAGs basically control the flow of the data processing going on. Okay. All this is based on a database blackboard engine. So what we do is we spawn little worker bees out. They get submitted to a farm. We do this using batch submission as well, so we play really nice with farms. Processes die after about an hour or so we don't clog up the queues with long-running processes, unless, of course, the process has to run for a long amount of time, in which case it can do what it wants to do. Once those workers are spawned, they then kick back to the database and say, hey, what work have you got for me to do? And the database says, yeah, we've got this. And then it goes off, merrily does it. And then once it's finished that amount of work, it goes, oh, okay, have you got anything else I can do? And so on and so forth. And basically, you can have repeats of these jobs happening as well in case they fail, and also you can have some kind of recovery in there as well. What do the modules look like when you run them? They have 3 phases. They have a fetch input phase, they have a run phase, and they have a write phase. This particular example is a very basic example from my industry. It's counting the numbers of G's and C's and A's and T's, which are the nucleic acids in DNA, to come up with some kind of overall idea of composition of the genome. I should say I work in bioinformatics as well, which is kind of obvious from the previous title that I did as well. But basically, you get one of these jobs spawned for each piece of sequence. It goes through, it loads that sequence, it counts through the number of A's and T's and C's and G's, and that's it. And then it writes that data back. The cool thing is, at the very end, is that we have this thing called data flow, where you just send out the data, and you don't care what the next process in your DAG does. It's just going to respond to those messages. And so long as you can send through pure Perl hashes and arrays through that, everything's absolutely fine. The other thing we have, because you know nothing's good without a GUI, is we have a GUI, and it shows all the different types of stage that the pipeline's in as well, and you can edit the pipeline as well in case it's going a bit wrong. There's also bindings available for Java and Python as well. Now, obviously, we'd accept a Perl 6 set of bindings if anyone would like to do that, or kind of show me how that might be done. Anyway, that's it. There is a tutorial up on this website as well that I just quickly wrote as well. So if you want to have a look at how it works, then just go there. And with that, thank you very much for your time.
Hey, you gotta help me. I need a patch. You guys are good at patches, aren't you? Oh, no, not that sort of patch. Let me stop and explain. You see, I'm a time traveler for an alternate universe, and I had this great idea. I'll go back to 2000, and I'll stop John Allman throwing the mugs, and then Larry won't do anything about Perl 6, and everything will be brilliant. One mistake. You see, I forgot in 1999, Chip Salzenberg started this project called Topaz, a rewrite of Perl in C++. And he stopped when Larry announced Perl 6. Didn't do that. I've now got this zombie C++ code running around my universe, causing problems. I need to fix it. Anyway, so come to my talk tomorrow, and I will give you a history, an alternate history of Perl, where the mugs were never thrown. Thank you.
Hi. Okay, this is a talk about going from Perl to Rust. We all are familiar with Perl, I think at least most of us, and we know our way around Perl. But you might have heard about this cool thing called Rust. And you might want to take a look at Rust, explore it, but that poses the question, how do I get from Perl to Rust? And this talk answers that question, along with how long it might take you, and also what are some cool things you can do in Rust. Now, without further ado, you start at the top in Perl, Germany, near the French and Luxembourg border. Basically, you drive onto the B407, then down on the merge onto the A8, drive down into France, then take the A4 straight across that corner of France, then back into Germany and the A5 down. The A stands for Autobahn, by the way, down until Ringsburg, I think, and then just follow the signs to Rust, and there you are. It's really easy, and if all goes well, it will take you about 2 hours and 40 minutes. Now, about what you can do in Rust, the obvious answer is the Europa Park, which is basically a big theme park and resort. It consists of many European country-styled areas with many shows and events and rides and hotels. And that's it, pretty much.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I am really excited to announce that we now do have a date for this year's Barcelona Perl Workshop. Thank you. And it's going to be held on the 5th of November. So remember, the 5th of November, Barcelona Perl Workshop. And one last very, I think, nice note that I wanted to make is most of the talks are actually going to be in English, which has two really nice implications. Number one being, any one of you can come to Barcelona, visit our nice city, and attend the talks. And number two, any one of you can come to Barcelona, visit our sunny city, and actually present something. So remember, 5th of November, Barcelona Perl Workshop. Thank you.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Let me plug in the video.
All right, screw it. I can't talk as fast as Nick. That was impressive. I can probably swear faster. So there is a conference that some of you might be interested in. I'm wearing a T-shirt of a dancer conference, and we're running another one, which will be on the 20th till the 22nd of September, which is very soon. And it's a really nice community. It's a nice, a lot of nice, friendly people. And we talk about a wide variety of stuff that we do in Dancer or in web in general. And if you're interested in coming, just go to perl.dance. That is the actual website for the conference. So go ahead, register, come see us. Oh, you're probably wondering where it is. Vienna. So it's actually close by to Nick. So come see us and come to the conference, hang out with us, give a talk, attend a talk, and that's it. Thank you.
I'm sorry, the Mac has crashed, and now it's decrypting the drive. So
in that case, I will take over. Status update on the Perl core development funds. At the moment, we've got 4 hours of Perl 5 core development fund paid for and 8 hours of Perl 6 core development fund. Thank you very much.
I'll stop if that gets fixed.
So
We were talking about going out tonight to the Enigma Steampunk Cafe at 8 p.m. How many people here would go if we do that? So we can get a quick show of hands because Amalia is talking about making reservations. Okay, good. Here's another sweetener. I ran a sherry tasting last year in Granada and made over 100 euros because so many people gave me lots of money to pay the bill. It was way more than what we owed. So the first 100 euros worth of drinks are free for everybody who comes. Hands up again, one more time.
There we go. Hey, there we go. So yeah, can I? So yeah, my machine is just rebooted, so all sorts of things might pop up. So just bear that in mind. Okay, so this is a heavily abridged version of a talk I gave in Bez et Esperon about 6 weeks ago. And if you're wondering what the hell happens in Bez et Esperon, the answer is it's a photography retreat. And this little comic kind of sums up my feelings about photography over the last few years. I've kind of changed my approach significantly, and I've started working on longer term work. I kind of had this reaction several years ago to the amount of increasingly ephemeral photography we are taking, which is great. We share lots and we discover lots, but it's the next day, 5-10 minutes, it's gone, and I find that frustrating. So I talked about this in the retreat, but they said to me, you should actually get out of the echo chamber. Well, they didn't literally say that. I'm paraphrasing. They said you should share more of your work. So here I am sharing a bit of that work. So this is a project about Formula One, but it's not really about Formula One. It's about obsession and about loss and about the absurdity. This is a project about ski resorts in Switzerland, but actually it's about climate change and the future of these ski resorts. This is a project that's kind of related to that. I'm following the local ski club around, so this is very much a project about community and their relation to the mountain. And this is another one which is about, this is my reaction to landscape photography, which I really, really dislike. So I'm shooting a series of landscapes from my hotel rooms. And then there's this one, which unfortunately one of the monitors isn't working, but I guess this is also a project about community. And it's about communities within communities. So this was at the Swiss Perl workshop last year. And yeah, I guess it's about community, but I've only been working on this for about a year now. And I don't really figure out what I want to say until after 2 or 3 years of shooting a project. So what I would like to do over the next 2 or 3 years is come along to one of your workshops or your tech meetings to shoot photos. As you've probably seen me at recent YAPCs, YAPC NA, YAPC last year, here obviously. And I'm continuing to shoot these photos, and hopefully, I hope that we can do something with them relating to what's been said yesterday. I would like to show these photos outside of the Perl community eventually. I think there would be interest in this. I've spoken to other photographers and they are interested in this because it's something they haven't really seen before. There are 1 or 2 photo projects about tech conferences, but they tend to be a bit cliche, a bit stereotypical, and that's not what really interests me. So if you do see me along shooting photos, just ignore me, because that results in the best kind of photography, I think. So thank you very much.
As some of you might have read today and heard today, there's a winner of the Dutch Camel Award and somebody who worked a lot on Perl 6, and the creator of Perks is now minister in the Taiwanese government. I'm talking about Audrey Tang, a woman from the Perl community Minister. And I think we should toast on that. Sawyer says, I'm looking for excuses to drink. Well, yeah. What's the problem with that? Cheers on Audrey. Cheers. And anybody who wants to have some more, there's the bottle, some more cups. Enjoy yourself.
Hello, just a couple of minutes to talk about London PM's infrastructure because we seem to have a lot of it. And also an invitation for something in a minute. Okay, so we have this website, londonpm.org. We have a Google Calendar, which has to be kept updated. We have a meetup group because London in particular seems to use that a lot, so we have actually managed to get a lot of new members in the last couple of years because they find us on Meetup because they don't otherwise know that the group exists, even though it's been around for 16 plus years. We have a server. That's a BSD jail that one of our members that runs an ISP donates to us. So luckily we have a handful of members who are BSD experts, nuts, whatever. People who understand how to deal with that. We have email lists which are running on Sampa currently because we got really tired of maintaining our own mailman installation that was like 10 years old and falling apart. And the site is on GitHub. So please change the website. It's too stable. It's really boring. Clone the repo, make a feature branch if you want to be really fancy. Give us a pull request, and it'll go live automatically if it's accepted, which it might do. I set up the cron job myself, and it actually sort of works. Do it. Break my website. The end.
Please don't crash. Yep. This one here. Show as the you don't have to stress. That's okay, they can wait a minute. And then please. It's really twitchy. Just a second. Did it come? Oh, it came. On its own. Very good. Ooh, look. I don't really see where I'm putting it there, so... Oh, no. I have to go around so I can see myself here. Okay, nice. This has disappeared. We take another one. It's an interesting thing because I had the 3 videos here on my computer on this screen I wanted to show, and the 3 of them are black. Now we have HDMI, which means that I'm going to do it. Sorry? Open again. Let's open again. Let's see here. Oh, open again this one, you mean? Yeah, we'll do that. Oh, there. Yeah. They like to. Yeah, it's interesting because it comes back to where it was before. Oh, and now it's like full screen. Yes, here. Please stay. Yeah. So I'm going to try to be here. Hello, my name is Nadim. I haven't been to YAPC for 6 years or something like that. During that time, I was working on my career. Worked quite fine and quite bad. It depends. Just took some holidays, looked sunburned, and I thought, yeah, let's come back because there's a lot of nice people here and things to learn. Things have changed during the last
6 years, Perl 6, and so on. And I wanted to hear a little bit about it. Yesterday I had a good time with Tina, which is there. We sat together and she asked me to make a little lightning talk about tools, because we discussed a lot about tools. So I'm going to start with Tmux. I noticed yesterday that maybe 25% were using Tmux, 25% screen, and the rest was using nothing. So I think it's a good idea to use something, whatever you use. And I wanted to say one or two things about Tmux very quickly. There is a project that is called Teammate Slave that you want to have a look at. It allows you to share a session with someone somewhere on the internet. So it's very easy setup, Teammate Slave, a few things, and then give you an IP. You go there, and suddenly you're on a terminal with someone else, and you get some control over that. I really like it. The other thing also that Tina didn't have time to show you yesterday is if you are intimate and you have a little screen like this, you can say zoom out, and then you're zoomed out. So, and then you can come back. It's very practical when you have 4 or 5 small screens and you don't want to work with a very, very little font. You see something is happening, you just get there and you open it. Otherwise, you just fire a new one, and then it's very easy to go from one to the other. Another tool that I really like is called Ranger. I have a shortcut, R, which is a cursor text-based file management tool. This one is written in Python. Most of them are written in Python, actually. They're very practical. They allow you to go around, go up and up. I don't see very much here. For example, here are my repositories. The one thing that I like about it is if you get into this one, you get also a preview of it. So if you're going around in your directories, it goes very fast. I also use it. There is a command called rcd, which allows you to do cd via this. So instead for saying cd point, blah, a lot of things, tabbing back with point is like hell. I just fire rcd, and then I just go there and they say quit, and then I'm there. And it's quite practical. You get a good overview of your system like that. The last tool I'm going to talk about is called Asciio. I know that a few of you use it. I wrote it. I went to a QA hackathon, and I started working on it. And someone said, "Hey, don't work on QA. It's okay. We have it covered. Just go and do that." And this is what I'm going to show you a little bit. I think I have around 3 minutes. So I'm going to cheat. What I'm going to do is I have some screencasts here. Let's see where it opens them. It might open in another window. You never know. Do I have here? Yeah, well, you can install it in different ways. Probably if you say install from your packaging system, Asciio, it's going to work. Hey, I'm the last one. I'll fight you for that. It's going to work. It has been installed on Linux, Mac, and Windows. People send me screenshots. Yeah, it works here. Sometimes it's difficult. If you want help with that, I will help you. I'm going to well, let's show you something first, and then let's talk. It's an AVI there. So, yes. So. Maybe up, put it like this. There is no music. I'll go faster a little bit just to show you what you can do. It's a graphical application, GTK, but the object looks like text. And well, it's not text, but you can export, you can save to text, and so on. There is grouping and whatever you want. It's called Asciio, like Visio. Someone coined the name. It's not me. It's not professional at all. I hacked this because it was fun. I'm going to go a little bit further and show you what you can do. It's things like this, where you can move around boxes and so on. And of course, at the end, you get text that you can put in your text file, in your Perl file, and so on. I use it quite often where I have an idea and I have some kind of flow. I draw something and then I take it, I put it in the code, and then I work from there. Unfortunately, it doesn't parse back from just that. It saves in some kind of format, which is very simple. If you're interested, I'll make you a demo. The good thing with this, it's written in Perl, of course. I'm going to close this, and I'm going to go back here. The setup is very easy. There are files here. For example, you have some hooks like saving things, different actions. For example, you have alignment of the boxes, things with the clipboard, colors, context menus for the arrows, and a lot of things. It's all in Perl. Most of it is 5 to 10 lines, so you can hack on it as much as you want. I think I'm going to rewrite it in Perl 6 because I just fell in love and I really like it. I love Perl 5, but Perl 6 is really nice too. So if some of you are interested in working with me on this, so it gets a little bit more open and people can make their plugins and so on, just come and see me. So, thank you.
And that is the end of day 2 of the lightning talks. We have an almost full set for tomorrow, so there are a few spots left. I will not make the final selection till close to lunch, so you have time to get them in. But remember, there's only a spot or 2 left, and you're competing with everyone else who procrastinated. You shouldn't have waited so long. Before we leave, though, does anybody else in the room already have a suggestion for where you are going for dinner, and you would like to stand up and announce it so someone might join you?
I am. Liz and I are going tonight to Samsara Food House, vegetarian restaurant. Anybody who wants to have excellent vegetarian and vegan food, join Liz and me. Thank you.
Anyone else have a place you want to go? Stand up and say it if you do. If not, remember, don't eat alone. Find a group, make some friends, and we'll see you all in the morning.